This is that moment, the one where you ask yourself, what am I doing here? Every single step is a deliberate choice. You're completely in the zone because you have to be. One wrong move up here, well, you just can't make one. This hike pushed us to our absolute limit, and it was worth every single second. There's a special kind of crazy that kicks in when you decide to chase a sunrise from the top of a mountain. It starts with an alarm clock that feels like a personal insult. It's that quiet promise you make to yourself, a promise of sore muscles, burning lungs, and, if you get lucky, a moment of pure, unfiltered glory. Today, that crazy has a name, the San Gabriel Mountains. Tucked right up against Los Angeles, this rugged wilderness has some of the most challenging and seriously underrated adventures in all of Southern California. Our goal is a big one, a brutal double-peak day to conquer both Mount Lowe and Mount Markham in a single push. We're kicking things off at the Eaton Saddle Trailhead, a tiny parking lot that happens to be the gateway to some serious backcountry. Getting here this early is non-negotiable. The parking is a nightmare, and we need all the daylight we can get. The air is cold, thin, and buzzing with anticipation. We do one last gear check, water, navigation, gloves for the scrambling ahead, and with the first hint of dawn on the horizon, we take our first steps. This isn't just a hike, it's a test. The day starts easily enough on a wide fire road. Don't let it fool you. The path winds around the top of the massive Eaton Canyon, giving you views that will make your stomach drop right from the get-go. The only sounds are the crunch of our boots and our own breathing. The scale of this place is just immense. To the east, you can see the silhouette of Mount Baldy waking up. Just as we're finding our rhythm, the mountain throws its first curveball. Carved straight through a wall of solid granite is the Muller Tunnel. The U.S. Forest Service blasted this 100-yard passage out of the rock back in 1942 for a service road. A landslide shut it down to cars years ago, and now it's this mysterious, slightly creepy gateway for hikers. Stepping inside is like walking into another dimension. The temperature drops immediately. The air gets heavy and still. For a second, you're in total darkness, with the entrance shrinking behind you and a perfect circle of light at the far end. It feels like a portal, a final transition from the regular world to the wild one we're about to take on. When we pop out on the other side, it's like the world has been reset. We're greeted by a shady grove of oaks and pines and incredible canyon views we couldn't see before. We literally just walked through the mountain. Just up ahead is Markham Saddle, our first big junction. The warm-up is officially over. The real work is about to start. From Markham Saddle, we hang a left and start the relentless climb. The trail gets narrow, rocky, and needs your full attention. This is where the day really begins to bite back. The incline gets steeper, and it becomes as much of a mental game as a physical one. You just get into a rhythm. High step, deep breath, and that little voice in your head saying, just a little more. We pass the turnoff for Mount Markham, we'll be seeing that later, and hook a sharp right to keep climbing toward Lowe. The landscape is brutally beautiful, all dusty rock and tough chaparral plants. As we get higher, the views just get more and more insane. You can see the entire LA basin spread out below like a map, still waking up under a thin layer of haze. Every time we stop for a breather, we get to look back and see how far we've climbed. The final push to the top of Mount Lowe is a scramble. The trail pretty much disappears, and we have to pick our way through a field of boulders, using our hands to keep our balance. And then, just like that, we're there. At 5,603 feet, the summit of Mount Lowe is packed with history. There's a flagpole, a rusty old bench, and a hitching post, leftovers from the early 1900s when a fancy hotel and railway brought tourists right to this spot. The coolest things up here are the viewing tubes. old iron pipes aimed at different landmarks. One points to Mount Wilson, another to our next target, Mount Markham. Looking through them feels like looking back in time, connecting you with everyone who stood right here, staring at the same incredible view. The feeling of accomplishment is huge, but we can't get too comfortable. The hardest part of the day is still waiting for us. We're only at the halfway point, and things are about to get a whole lot spicier. If you're enjoying this adventure and want to see more like it, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us out and motivates us to keep finding these epic challenges. Now, let's go get that next peak. Leaving the history of Mount Low behind, we hike back down to the saddle that connects it to Mount Markham. This is where the hike flat out becomes a climb. The trail to Markham is barely there, a faint track that follows a thin, exposed ridge. This is the part we've been waiting for, the section that gives this whole trip its brutal reputation. The path is a lovely mix of loose rock and what's called Class 2 scrambling. We're using our hands constantly, checking every grip and foothold before we trust it with our weight. This is why you bring hiking gloves. The rock is sharp and unforgiving. The exposure is no joke. The ground falls away on both sides, which forces you to be completely focused. There's no space for your mind to wander. It's just you, the rock, and a whole lot of empty air. This is the kind of challenge that makes the rest of the world go quiet. All the noise from daily life just vanishes, and all you can hear is the wind, the scrape of your boot on rock, and your own heart pounding in your chest. It's tough physically, but the mental game is even tougher. You have to trust your body, your gear, and your nerve. This traverse isn't for everybody. It's for people who find a strange sense of peace in the struggle, who feel the most alive when they're right on the edge. Every move you complete is a little win, getting you one step closer to the summit. As we pull ourselves over the last big rock pile, the true summit of Mount Markham finally appears. It's so close, and that promise of the final view is all the fuel our tired muscles need. And then, we're on it. At 5,742 feet, the summit of Mount Markham is wild and completely unmarked, a total contrast to the historical clutter on Low. There's no flagpole, no bench, just a jaw-dropping 360-degree panorama. From up here, we can look back and see Mount Low, which is now below us. It gives you a real appreciation for the gnarly traverse we just finished. The view is just endless, stretching across the whole San Gabriel Range, over the LA Basin, and out to the Pacific Ocean. On a clear day, you can see all the way to Santa Monica Bay. We actually did it. 2 tough peaks in one go. The feeling is a wild mix of exhaustion, relief, and pure joy. The trip back is its own kind of fight. The summit adrenaline wears off and is replaced by a deep, satisfying exhaustion. Going down is often tougher on the body than going up, and this steep, rocky trail demands our focus right to the very end. Our knees are screaming, and every step is a conscious decision. As we make our way down, we have time to think about the day. We talk about the hardest parts, the burn in our legs on that first climb, the laser focus needed for the Markham scramble. We also talk about the best parts, that weirdly cool feeling of walking through the Muller Tunnel, the history lesson on Mount Low, and the view from Mount Markham that just rearranges your soul. Seeing all the landmarks in reverse gives you a totally new perspective. The saddle between the peaks, which seemed so intimidating on the way up, now feels like a conquered enemy. The Muller Tunnel, which was a portal into the unknown, now feels like a gateway back home. Its cool darkness a welcome break from the afternoon sun. By the time we stumble back to the trailhead at Eaton Saddle, the sun is starting to set, painting the sky orange and purple. We are wrecked. We are sore. But we are also completely content. We came here looking for a challenge, and the San Gabriels gave us more than we ever could have asked for. There's a realness to an adventure like this. It's not just about the pretty pictures, it's about the fight to get them. The real value is found in the sweat, the exhaustion, and those moments where you think you can't go on. The beauty of the summit is so much sweeter because of how hard the climb was. You feel the rush, not just from the thrilling scrambles, but because you earned it every single step of the way. For anyone thinking about tackling this beast, our single biggest piece of advice is to start early. Seriously. The parking is a joke, but more importantly, this is a long, tough route you do not want to be racing against the sunset on. Give the mountain the respect it demands, and it will pay you back in ways you can't imagine. So, what's the one hike that pushed you to your absolute limit? We'd love to hear about it in the comments below. We're always looking for our next big challenge. Thanks for coming along on this ultimate California mountain adventure. If you want to see where we go next, make sure you're subscribed. Until then, keep chasing that rush.